It's sorry. Welcome everyone to our 80s revival show. This is going to be fantastic. We're going to talk about everything about the 80s, and we may go into the 90s and we may dip into the 70s for those of you who are purists out there and go, well, actually that wasn't the 80s. So I'm here with Lucy. Hello, Lucy.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Now, you've been researching for your books. So that's why we grabbed you and said, oh, come on. You know all about this. So we're going to talk about the 80s today in our new revival show. So let's whip it down there and just go into music.
We've got any
Do
music
you not want to talk?
Okay, so in the 80s, I remember going into the town centre on Saturday, getting my copy of Blue Jeans magazine, which nobody else seems to remember. But
Blue Jeans?
Blue Jeans.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
It was
Looking. We used to get Looking.
Yeah, I remember looking.
And Looking, yeah.
And then we would look through at all the bands that were in there, and of course drooling over them, cutting them out, putting them on the wall. So my friend was mad on Scritti Politti.
Oh, with the hair.
Yeah.
With the hair and the makeup. Yeah. Now that was okay. So the early 80s music, that was the start of the New Romantics. You're coming out of punk and things like that. You've got Adamant, you've got Scritti Politti, you've got Depeche Mode, you've got Spandau Ballet,
Heaven 17, ABC.
Oh, here we go. Look, she's just reading off her bedroom wall now. She's got them all going along. So who was your pin-up then? Who was your pin-up?
It had to be Dave Garn from Depeche Mode. Without a shadow of a doubt, he was the one. And in fact, I drew him and sent it into Blue Jeans magazine, and every week they would publish the best drawing, and I got my drawing in there, and I got £2.
So that's your first publicity thing.
£2.
£2.
Wow.
Did you get it in a check?
Yeah, check.
You have to go to Mum. What do I do with this? What do I do with this? So but the so bands.
U2.
Who?
U2 were huge.
U2.
Yeah.
What, from the 80s? Really?
Yeah, Joshua Tree.
Oh, the Joshua Tree. That was late 80s. That was music in the 80s. You had this great, massive, great. It wasn't a gap. It sort of blended. So there were all different types of music. So like I say, you had like the starting of the New Romantics, coming out of punk into the New Romantics. You then had synthesized music, which was
That Pet Shop Boys.
Sorry?
Synthesized music, Pet Shop Boys, is it?
the Pet Shop Boys, Erasure and things like that. Basically, two people, one would sing and the other would stand there in the back playing a keyboard.
Vince Clarke,
yeah.
Was that French guy did like synthesized
Jean-Michel
music?
Jarre.
I love that. Yeah.
Now, I went to see Jean-Michel Jarre when he did Docklands, and it was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. There's lasers flying up everywhere.
He's still going strong now, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yes, he still writes music, and I think it's the new classical music. I mean, you had Jean-Michel Jarre, you had Rondo Veneziano as well. They used to do like classical music with a beat to it. So you could you
have to look them up.
Rondo Veneziano. They for their videos and that they had playing faith. They were like robots. But they were actual musicians, and then you had
New Order, I suppose, if you're going to talk
New
about
Order, Art of Noise.
Oh yes,
The Art of Noise. Who is actually the person from Buggles.
yes.
He was the Art of Noise.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Trevor. I can't think of his surname now.
You remember a lot.
I know. Don't tell my wife whatever you do. She goes, "How do you remember that?" But you can't remember to take the food out, or the bins out, or
You remember your music.
remember my music. Yeah. So it was a great time, and fashions as
I
well.
was going to say, if you remember everyone dressing the way that they like with the music they like. So we were all Madonna with the tied things around her hair, and
Did you wear like the little gloves, the lacy gloves
little
things?
gloves
and all that?
and T-shirts with Japanese symbols and ankle boots and things like that. But also all the new romantic guys were wearing their fringes long over the eye.
The wedges, like that.
Asymmetrical haircuts.
Yeah, and silver
white-
suits.
Yeah, talcum powder on the face and dark lips. So it's kind of semi-gothic going into the gothic side of things. But then, as you say, you have a lot of soul music still. You have a lot of re-releases from the 60s.
You had Luther Vandross, Alexander O'Neill, all those, and not to mention like things like The Alarm,
Yes. Yeah.
and other groups who were just under the radar.
The Jam.
The Jam were
Madness, you got Two Tone, and you got the Specials, and I'm just thinking about to Ghost Town and all that.
Oh, what's that song Madness sang that got number one? What's that one?
Baggy trousers.
Baggy
Yeah,
trousers.
yeah,
But that was
Powerhouse as well.
Madness started in the 70s.
Yes.
and then they had to adapt their music because obviously it was coming out of you had Madness, you had the Jam, you had, and they were all together, and then coming out of the 70s, that music sort of disappeared, so they had to reinvent themselves with new music, like Wings of a Dove and things like that. So they sort of came out the two-tone.
They had crazy music videos, and music videos were another thing that came out in the 80s, that they were starting to do real production values to the videos that came out as well.
I mean, obviously the main group there is Queen. I mean, they changed how videos were made. It was a big blockbuster. You could go to the cinema to literally watch a music video.
Wasn't Prince Charming one of the ones from Adam Ant that had the most money spent on it for any music video of the time?
Yes, they hired Diana Dawes.
Yes,
they hired Diana Dawes, who was an idol at the time, a model. Was she a model or an actress?
She was an actress. She was a very famous actress. She acted
Voluptuous.
in the 50s and the 60s with people like Danny Kaye. If you remember him.
I remember Danny Kaye.
Yep.
That's a whole different story altogether, different genre. We won't talk about that.
They're not allowed to go back.
No. So yeah, he hired Diana Dawes to do this big publicity thing, and Prince Charming. It's still played today.
What was back on the telly that promoted like the music and stuff? A bit like we have like Top of the Pops.
Yes.
What was back then? What kind of started off?
Top of the Pops.
Was it Top of the Pops?
You had Top of the Pops. You had the Worst. That was Channel 4, wasn't it?
Was that on in the 80s?
Yeah, that was. How did you get? He just had a sandwich brought to him.
I pre-ordered it. No, she knows my memory. So
Do you have an app on your phone or something? You can just.
I just say to her.
I just remembered the old grey whistle test, which was huge in the 80s.
Whispering Bob Harris.
Yes.
This is Whispering Bob Harris, and today we're talking about. Yeah, and you had so you had the Tube.
Yes.
The Tube as well. And the Tube was a bit like Channel 4's Top of the Pops, and that was the Tube was, what's his name? He was in Squeeze. Can't remember his name. No, it's gone. But yeah, so you had the Tube, you had the Word, you had Top of the Pops, but everyone used to watch Top of the Pops.
I remember listening to Sundays on the Sundays for the countdown.
The Top 40.
Top 40, I remember that. That was popular as well.
The Top 40, yeah. That was that's the one you used to record on tape.
That's right. Yeah, I do that.
And yeah, so you and then try and stop it before the DJ started talking.
Just get
the song would finish and da, 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 and then the DJ goes, and that was, and you go, I missed it. Yeah, so
don't you think it's hard to believe now that we would sit through 40 songs or 40 lists of songs, listening to all of them? I mean, that's a lot of attention that you're putting into finding out what is in the top 40. Really,
but they didn't play all of it.
No, they didn't play all of it, but really, then they shortened it really down to the top 10 after that.
Yeah, because back then we didn't have much technology to keep us busy, so that was kind of like what we do, wasn't it? Listen to it, something to do on a Sunday. You got a Sunday roast, the countdown.
Well, you did, because on Sunday you obviously had a top 40, or you had songs of praise. That was it, really, wasn't it?
It was an easy decision to make.
the religious hour on TV.
If you only have one TV and you're fighting with your parents, you've got a battle on your hands, really.
3 channels.
Yeah, my granddad had 2 TVs actually. Oh no, 3. We had the big set in the lounge, which was his domain, and no one ever touched it. Then he had a black and white upstairs on top of the wardrobe, because it's the only place you could get a signal, with a little aerial sticking at the top, and it had a little dial on it, so you had to go like, that's 1, that's 2, and then in the kitchen he had a really, really funky thing. It was a TV / radio / tape recorder,
with a big aerial.
With a big aerial, massive aerial used to come off, and you had a tuning dial, and depending on where you were, and you could get a perfect picture, and then you tune it like a millimeter, slightly just under a millimeter, and the picture would go. So you'd be sat there trying to tune in something or other.
Or you might just see Fuzziness still playing. You can listen to it then.
They never said it snowed back in the 80s, but my TV proved differently, I tell you.
So, I can remember like first TVs and stuff, watching like Top of the Pop things, not Top of the Pop, so yeah, watching programs in general. It was black and white because we couldn't. Well, colour TV was expensive, and then when radio rentals, was it radio rentals?
Yes, it was radio rentals, and a lot of people did rent their TVs from.
We did. We rented our TV.
It's the rental TV, and also when the VHS recorders came in, we were renting that as well. My dad was like, "Really, got a surprise for you. We got a colour telly. Wow!"
But it was a big thing in our house when we used to rent the TV, and my mum would say, "New TV coming today." And they're like, "Wow, new TV, excellent!" And the TV man would turn up in his little TV van, and he'd get the TV, and it would be on wheels, and he would literally wheel it in, and it'd be like a ceremony. He'd wheel the TV in next to the old TV and unplug that and plug the new one back in.
Did you ever, like, I know we're digressing a bit more on telly now, but did you ever like lots of collections of cassettes where you used to record stuff?
Yes, so I was going to say that I loved making compilations, and I particularly liked the Ray Harryhausen films like Jason and the Argonauts. And my dad hated me recording anything because he didn't want to wear down the heads on the VHS recorder. But I did, when he was out shopping, I would make compilations. So I had all of the best fight scenes because I didn't really care about the rest. I just wanted the Cyclops fight, and then there was a fanged saber-toothed cat fight, and I put them all together, and the skeletons. But yeah, I couldn't let him know because he didn't want me to use it. He was, he wanted everything to stay pristine. But I thought the whole point of a video recorder is it opens ways that you can record what you want. You can watch it back later and record stuff you like and they don't like, but it doesn't matter because they're not looking at it. You can record it whilst they're watching something else.
Or you'd record something in your video, and without knowing, you'd have a political broadcast. So everything would start 10 minutes late. So your program would start 10 minutes, and that would finish 10 minutes. I
remember buying like an album on cassettes, and you play it to death, and you have to buy it again because you wore it out.
But did you have a tape to tape machine?
That came in a little bit later, didn't it?
That was in the 80s. Tape to tape was in the 80s. Yeah, we used to. So basically, me and my mate, we used to buy one cassette between us. And then we'd record it.
They were talking about piracy now.
Piracy,
yeah. Like your computer game enterprise.
Yes, yeah, we used to do a similar sort of thing with computer games. Used to record it, and the Spectrum took a very, very long time to copy.
Yeah, because with the Spectrum, you had to get the volume levels right for it to record. And once you got it recording, it will then play it.
But you couldn't leave it. No. You couldn't leave it. As soon as you walked out the room, it would come up with that R-tape loading error sign. But if you stood there watching it, the screen goes zzz, making strange noises.
Or the frustration as your tape gets chewed up.
Yes.
When you listen to music, or
You have to be really organised with videos anyway, because once you've got a stack of them and you just can't remember what's on them. And my friend had a very ingenious system where you would stick on a strip, and it was one of those wipe strips that you put your finger down that way and it would white it out. And then they were so organised, and they'd say on the counter, they'd put the counter times at which each programme started. But most people couldn't be bothered to do that. So you just end up with loads of tapes, didn't know what was on them.
Well, we used to, with audio cassettes, I used to have audio cassettes with things scratched out, and so what's on this one? Is it that, or is it that, or what is it? And then on the back you'd have all the numbers and all the what everything is. When
you had a boyfriend when you was at school, did you used to do like combinations?
The love tape. Oh, the love tape! I used to have loads of love tapes. Never had any love, but loads of love tapes, just in case.
I had a boyfriend who he used to write to me every day, post lists of all of his records, so I could assess his worthiness. It's just like hundreds of pages with kittens in the corner of the paper listing all of it, and he loved the. That was one of the And
did you send it back, spelling checking it?
Didn't know any of these bands because he was so serious about his music, and I was never serious. I just liked what I liked, but he took it to a whole new level.
I mean, when I went to France Hill, which is now King's, and so across the desk from us, because we all used to sit in the same desk every day for tutorial. So there was me and Jason, who was my best mate at the time, and then across the table there were these two other people who I've recently come in contact with, funny enough, and they were into AC/DC. So underneath the school uniform, they wore AC/DC T-shirts, and it was like they would draw like the cover from an AC/DC T-shirt or things like that.
Do you know, I was saying about ATC. I don't remember going to schools, because normally schools you kind of have those different kind of people. Like you got your rocks, you got your your romantics. I don't remember actually going in school and being aware of those people. Do you ever aware?
No, I don't think. I think they were there. The different groups were there, but they weren't labelled. So you did have your goths. I mean, I was a Teddy boy. I was into Shorty Waddy, the Darts, Rocky Sharp, and the Replays.
These 80s bands though, they're more
70s/80s. Because in the early 80s there was a revival from the doo-wop music. So but that sort of phased out. Shorty Waddy's still going strong though.
All right.
50th anniversary this year.
50th.
Yeah, one remaining member.
How old's Madonna now? She's still going strong.
What's 80 something?
It is amazing when you Björk. Oh, she's 90s, but
Who?
Still going strong.
Björk is in her 90s.
No, in the 90s.
Oh, I was going to say. I was like, my God, she looked good for her age back then.
A lot of them with the revival of concerts, they're all going back. So Heaven 17 regularly.
Yeah, Marty Fry from ABC, he's still going strong. You've got
Glenn Gregory from Heaven 17.
Yeah, and the thing is,
Martin Ware.
The trouble is though, the voices are starting to go a bit. So they do have the only person whose voice is still good, as far as I'm aware, is the bloke from Spandau Ballet.
Oh,
Hadley, Tony Hadley.
Yes.
Tony Hadley. He's still can pack out a tune, I tell you.
There's a nice documentary on Netflix at the moment with Robert Williams.
Yes, I've watched some of that.
That's
It's quite funny because he's in bed. He's filming it in his bedroom, basically.
Yeah, he doesn't like getting out of bed, just enjoys being at home.
Yeah, and his girl, keeps coming in. What are you watching? Oh, me. It's me. Look.
It kind of talks about the times being quite young in the band and how much it was like overwhelming for him, but he kind of just went with it. But it's kind of I haven't watched all of it yet.
But that's the 90s, so we can't talk about that.
About Ross.
Oh, Bros. I mean, they started 85.
That's in the same score then. They were above. I think it was like a year or 2 years above me. I remember they writing into a magazine doing a chat thing, and they were talking about our headmaster. And they crucified him, and they used to like go in each other's lessons as well. None of the teachers could tell the difference.
No.
Thing is, though, with Bros, Bros lived in Camberley, and then they bought a house, with their fame and money and that. But unfortunately, they didn't read the small print on the contract, so they they came to an end and they had no money, so they went bankrupt. It was really sad, the fact that basically the parents didn't really look out for the kids. They sort of went along with what the record label was saying.
Because most of the record label controlled the bands, didn't they? A lot. They were making more money than the bands were.
That's been a story forever, hasn't it?
Yeah.
George Michael and he and Prince and all of them.
Prince used to perform with "Slave" written on his fist or on his head or somewhere or other.
And I think it's not that much better now. If you think about Taylor Swift re-recording her albums to.
But that's because they were young when they were signed. They didn't really know. If someone says to you, "Well, we'll give you 6 figures a year," you're going to go along with it, aren't you? Yeah. But then those 6 figures they don't go up, and you sort of think, well, hang on a minute, I'm writing all this stuff and I'm not getting anything back here as they get older.
Because in theory, like iTunes is kind of changed the way the record label is, but it still takes an awful lot from the actual artist.
Well, it's all streamed now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they would get a percentage, I would have thought, of that streaming. So
no, I think it's back. I remember something come up a little while ago, about 2 years ago, when they're saying iTunes takes 60% of their revenue. So it's not a lot of massive markup.
It is. I mean, I don't know how the records. I mean, back then it was easy. You went in, you bought your record. That bit of that record went to. We all went to the record company or went to the shop or whatever, and it all got split up. When it was streaming, it's a bit difficult to work out where it all goes, really.
Yeah, because I mean, there's not much to do about packaging. Because back in the days, the cassette tapes packaging was kind of important.
Oh, we used to put album covers on the wall.
Yep.
Album covers would go up on the wall, and
my mate used to buy, like, he was into Michael Jackson, so when Smooth Criminal came out, he'll buy not just one copy on record, he'll buy several, so he can span it out across his.
And there were certain female groups that would release albums with posters as well to encourage people to buy them.
Bananarama. I thought I'd have to mention them because they were such an amazingly famous band and such an inspiration fashion-wise as well.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted like Siobhan Fahey, her hair, similarly like Madonna's, all back-combed,
Back-combed look, yeah.
Sort of ties and laces and things flinging everywhere. Really fantastic band.
I mean, I had a pin-up of the Bangles on my wall at home.
Bangles?
The Bangles, yeah. It was a case of they had to think of how can we sell this record. I don't know, we'll put a poster in there of the Bangles. And so, you know, the poster, and it's the one thing you couldn't actually copy.
It's like, what was it, Elvis? He used to do his album, you used to get an album in records, but then you take them all out and they'll build up like a picture of him.
Or postcards. Used to do postcards in albums as well. Used to get 3 or 4 postcards, and also the picture disc.
Yes.
As well.
I used to go to Kensington Market and look for picture discs there. And I have actually still got a couple of ones, and they're probably quite rare now.
They are worth a lot of money.
Interviews with Depeche Mode in the 80s, for
Yeah.
example, in their purple...
And purple vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the and you also had the so you had the picture disc, the coloured vinyl, and you had the EP as well. You know, the EP had extra tracks on it.
There's a modern day version group, and they're more South Korean. They kind of do that similar thing now. They produce their CD, and you get a book and pamphlet, leaflets, and little cards. Because my daughter used to collect them all.
K-pop.
That's it.
BTS.
That's it. Yeah, BTS. Yeah, she'll buy them all. Yeah. She'll sell the cards off online.
Other good bands are available.
Then she kept everything else.
I know, and it's giving, you know, the fan a lot more than just a bit of vinyl, isn't it?
I mean, Depeche Mode were huge in Germany, so there were loads of German remixes of their 12 inches of their famous songs, and you could get really bizarre.
one song.
Yeah, one song.
Temptation.
Absolutely gone.
Oh, I loved it. I used to love all that. Go into London, Tower Records to get the remixes, the imports and stuff.
Tower Records used to have like flash sales. So over the tannoy, there'll be like, you know, for the next hour, you know, this record is such and such a price, and there'll be a massive great whoosh in the stores.
Do you guys remember how much like a cassette tape would buy a cost for an album or a record? Because I can't remember what the record prices were.
It was like $5.99 or something, and the records.
I think it was more.
Was it $9.99? It all depended on the band, didn't it? Really, and then after 6 months, you go to the bargain bin and get it for 99p.
The outprice in Farnborough in the late 80s also was doing a lot of countdown deals, and I used to like a lot of bands that people didn't really like, so I always picked up bargains. I mean, I love Soft Cell, and I love Mark Arman when he went solo. So he did some really strange stuff. There'd be a picture of him on one of his albums with a stuffed toucan. He
was a strange bloke, Mark Almond, wasn't he? Very, very strange. I mean, he, you know, electronic music really made him what he is, and he used to use a voice changer as well.
Yep.
So he used to synthesize his voice. But it was a lot of it's Mark Almond and everyone else. No one ever knew who the people were in the band except for, you know, the front man.
I do.
Do you? Go on then.
We used to use a band called the Willing Sinners, which were sort of soulful, female, gothic, vampire type sound to them. I've never had anything like it. You really did think you were descending into a crypt with his songs. Like he did one about a candle. It was a famous poem by Edgar Allan Poe. And it was creepy and soulful. But I liked the soul in his voice. It's so emotional. All emotion, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it was like Robert Palmer.
Yeah,
I used to love Robert Palmer. His videos were amazing, but the tracks were like.
Did you guys ever join a fan club?
Nope.
No, actually, and I'm surprised at myself. I really thought I would join the Depeche Mode fan club. I didn't. Although Dave Barnes said he supported the Damned. He had the free bat that came with it.
Did you still have some of your old posters you used to have?
I do have my old posters. Yeah. Well, I've got that edition of Blue Jeans, which I got my picture in. So that's astounding when you look back at it and you see the bands.
Is it framed at home?
No, it wasn't that good. It was tiny as well. It was really tiny. And I'd done Dave Gone really young. It was like he was 18, 17. He hadn't really started going with the New Romantics look. He looked just like with the suit. They wore suits and fake trumpets at the beginning.
Do you ever used to go to any concerts?
Yeah, I saw Depeche Mode at the O2 and Wembley.
What about back in the day?
Yeah, Simple Minds I saw at Wembley.
My first concert, very, very first concert, was Level 42.
I love Level 42.
Back in 1986, I think it was.
World Machine.
The World Machine. It was Lessons in Love tour, it was.
I can't remember the last time I went to a concert. I don't think I've never been to a concert.
You've never been to a concert? No.
When I got married, she was into, what was the group called? But I remember taking to Wembley. I used to buy her tickets to go and see them and then drop her off. That's the closest I got to a concert.
The good thing now is, of course, you can still see these people at local centres. And, so you get the ticket, half the price of the ticket to get in.
Roachford.
Cuddly toy.
Status Quo. That's it. Status Quo.
Oh yeah.
They got all yeah. I mean, Status Quo were a great band. They were a great. They made 3 chords go a very, very long way.
No one did it like them.
No,
They make the epitome of a great band, a great show, a great writer. They make it look easy, and you think, oh, that looks really easy. I can do that. And no,
but that was it, wasn't it? You know, you used to buy the record and you used to pretend that you were on stage, being them. You know, turn the stereo up really loud because the parents have gone shopping, and you know, or you're in the lounge, and you became that person. You were, you know, you had your air guitar and you were miming away and singing at the top of your voice. I mean, those were the days. I mean, you do that now, and the kids people still do in their cars. Actually, funny enough.
I think people
new?
are much more instant with they have their iPods, they have their headphones on, whereas back in the day, you're right, you waited till your parents went out and you blasted it absolutely with your separates, just your turntable and your speakers, the biggest speakers on spikes.
Yeah.
So getting you never got a chance to be like that. If you're saying, you know, they're going to make you watch Songs of Praise and you want to watch Top of the Pops, you only had a few sectors of space in which to make it count. So,
and then you forget to turn it down. So when your dad turns stereo, it'd be like, really, what is going on there? Sorry.
My brother used to fall asleep listening to music, and it comes to the end of the cassette and stop. So I used to turn it around, fast forward it. It still has headphones on and sleep. I turn the volume up and press it, make it jump.
Oh.
How many cassettes do we have now? I have only got 2 or 3 that I've kept.
We have none. I've got CDs.
The only cassette tapes I've got, and I need to get them off because it's me recording for a girl that I used to like, and she recorded the other side back, like replies.
I love tapes.
Yeah. I've got the letters still, and I kind of look at it, I think, yeah, these kind of like adult versions. Did I really write like that back as a kid?
Oh, I can see a film of young Jack. With young Jack doing that. Yeah, we need to get someone to play young Jack.
But I'd be interested in my voice sounded back then, because I would have been 14.
Sounds high, and it also sounds very different on tape.
Yeah,
I used to record shows on tape, not shows. Me actually doing a show. So me and some friends doing a script or something or other. You know, because that's the closest I ever got to the radio, basically, at the time. And you know, so we'd write the script and then we'd do it. No one ever got to listen to them. We just all stood round a tape recorder, just doing the script. And
look where it's led you now.
Yeah, nowhere. Still not on the radio.
But we should keep hold of our CDs in case there's a major, you know, EMP pulse that wipes out all of this electronic media that we rely on so much, and we think it's forever and we think it's always going to be there. But I don't know. I think the CDs and records are worth holding on to.
I think they are. I think we've done it for this episode of Revival. Thank you very much, Lucy. Thank you very much, Jack, for supplying all the equipment. As always.
Equipment.
And we will see you on the next episode, which I think will probably be the 90s.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do some about the technology one as well.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. You need to get some pictures.
And about cars. What we remember back in cars in the day.
Oh, that's a whole different episode.
I want to show an Allegro steering wheel, and I'll be happy.
Well, I'll give you some homework to do is when we do the next one, especially about the cars, bring some old photographs, bring your albums around. Remember days of like what we used to drive, what kind of, even like hairstyles. You've got pictures of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring them along.
I haven't got any pictures.
I
have. I think I've burned them. Anyway, till next time, guys. Well done, and thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Supergirl here, and I am a super fan of SMJ Media Group. They provide support for local businesses, charities and events, and of course create fun content for all of you. If you enjoy our content and would like to help support us, please go to buymeacoffee.com/SMJ Media Group and buy us a coffee.